Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to read The Time Traveler's Wife from HBO, which is an adaptation of the novel, the second adaptation of this novel, as the previous film, the previous adaptation was a film. And this one takes place over 6 episodes as we dive into the love story between Clare and Henry, two characters who are connected over time. And Henry is a time traveler who doesn't really have much control over being able to travel through time. He shows up, he appears naked, and then engages in the time, and then he feels sick, and then poof, he's gone and on to the next one. And it's interesting because you have multiple Henrys at the same time, and I feel like Theo James, it was like an easy choice to want to do this film because there's so much to do with it, acting against yourself, acting at different ages, acting in different states of being. And over the course of this film, in the series, you see him acting against himself and Rose Leslie and all kinds of other people at different phases in his life. And you have like the younger, more rambunctious versions, the older, more mature and plan oriented and relaxed version. And he shows some range. And I think Theo James does a fine job. Rose Leslie has to play different ages as well as she becomes less and less rambunctious and a little bit more like over the course of this time, it's like how this is told can be really messy because like I get it, especially towards the beginning, it's trying to like sell mystery here of what's really going on. And like it's bouncing back between these times feeling like almost randomly, and it becomes muddled from a narrative standpoint. And I think one of the biggest issues about their love story is like I feel like sometimes it forgets to show why they fell in love in the first place because it's always destined, and it kind of feels like, oh, Claire is in love because she should be. And, it's either that or she fell in love with this man when she was a young girl who he kept visiting her. And I don't think this series does a good enough job to be like, this is problematic because, grooming and having that looming over it. And it becomes awkward. And not to say that the series has to be like a good, healthy relationship, but I don't think the series does enough to really paint that complexity and challenge you as an audience with it. It's just like they're in love. Are they gonna like? Is it all gonna work out in the end? And as it gets towards the 6th episode, where it focuses on the wedding, you have Henry like flashing through time quicker and more radically due to stress and anxiety, and it builds more tension, but it's kind of like the point where it's just like, let's build up to a wedding that we already know happened. And it kind of lacks the tension or the care because I'm like, how much do I care about seeing their wedding? I know they've been married for all this time. And there's some more emotional moments where Henry has these connections with his parents, and Claire has these uncomfortable moments of longing for Henry, and it gives James and Leslie some time to really flex their acting muscles. But in general, I think this is a bit of a messy experience. The time traveling is messy and feels like it's only there to build like tension and like the whole entire point of all this is just be like this, here's a concept, it's a high concept idea, let's see how it goes. And I don't know how much of it really pays off. I have to admit it is pretty watchable. Like you're sitting and watching this show and it's just like I breezed through all 6 episodes, so it wasn't something where I'm like, oh my god, sitting there belaboring through it. So it has its entertainment elements, but for like well structured and well painted love story, I don't know how much it really compels you, but it has two strong leads, and that could be enough for you, especially if you're really into romance. I think this will still like really grab you. But those are my thoughts on The Time Traveler's Wife. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some TV. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.